Good morning, guys. So back in the shop again today and having a little bit of an unproductive day. I feel like, you know, there's no real parts to install on the cars, so I'm just kind of like sitting here twiddling my thumbs a little bit. You know, some days we'll have an unproductive day and it just kind of sucks. It bums me out, but I am trying to make the best of it. And something that I've needed to do for a while now since I got the lift is rearrange the shop a little bit. My toolbox is all the way over there, which, you know, granted, it's not that far, maybe about 20 feet, but it is not ideal. Yeah, I put the steering rack in and it looks pretty good. Happy with that. I just went with a Reman stock one from Rock Auto because I figured might as well. That's what I've had in the Camaro for the last 2 years with, you know, mild street driving and a lot of track use. But it's always been good. It works fine. So I figured I'd just do that again. These obviously are power steering racks. Some people will fill them and loop them. I never did that on the Camaro and it's been fine. This one I may fill and loop, try to like bleed all the air out, fill it as much as I can and then loop it. But I don't know, it's never been a problem. I know me and James talked about it a couple times, like people always say you have to do it. He's never done it on his 240 and it was like that for years. Hard to say. Okay, so I moved the toolbox over to here and it's actually a lot more spacious. I just have to finish up putting all the, you know, everything that goes on this shelf and then maybe figure out what this corner, I mean, I'm not coming over to nuts and bolts all that often. This toolbox is just drill bits and sawzall attachments. So not really too big of a deal. This is just a wiring cart. I may put it over there, but I don't know if that's even necessary. Don't mind that little bit of burnt spot. I had to kill a large spider. This is definitely a lot more reasonable. So I got some parts for a chip over here and the toolbox is now on this side and my pegboard is over here. And then over here got the shelf for all the various fluids and stuff, and then the movable table, which is really nice to have. Guys, I am in this situation right now where I have thousands of dollars of parts on order that are just not here yet, and some of them won't be here for quite a while. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is a really cool online learning program that teaches you usable skills. You can explore new skills or just develop the ones you already have. There's no ads. Whether you're just getting started or you're already a pro, they have classes for every skill level. When you join, you can get in on one of their live classes and watch along with teachers and other students. Skillshare offers memberships with meaning. You can connect with other members in your same field trying to learn the same things as you. Everything you would need to know to either make a career or just, you know, expand your knowledge. If you're like me and you want to keep learning, keep expanding your skill set, always trying new things, then Skillshare is perfect for you. The first 1,000 people to click the link in my description get a free 1-month membership. Guys, I know you're gonna enjoy this. Definitely go check it out. Links in the description. Now let's get to the video. Basically just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. There is a spider living under this car because there is a lot of spider nests. A lot of spider webs. Like a huge amount right here. I finally packed the parachute just shy of 1 week from pulling it. And I also drained the catch can on the Camaro. It had a lot of ethanol in it and some oil. There was already some fluid in there, but that was 3 passes without draining it, so yeah, not bad. This is why I run a big catch can, so I don't have to drain it after every single pass. Definitely recommend big catch can. Super helpful, very nice to have. Well, while I'm waiting for stuff, I figured I would be productive somewhat. Try to be productive. This fan is kind of bothering everything. Figured I would try to be productive and do something that has to be done. This is a rocker arm from an LS. These, you know, OEM ones are perfectly fine. The problem is you just want to upgrade the bearings and everything and do an upgrade. So they have these needle bearings in them that are known for failing, and there's a lot of them, and then there's a lot more needle bearings. So once these go through your motor, basically, you know, she dead. So not exactly ideal. Like you see, these are all those needle bearings that I was just talking about, and that's literally just one bearing of, you know, a box of them. There's a lot of bearings that could go through your motor. Wouldn't recommend it. So I'm obviously going to do a trunnion upgrade, clean, and I got to take these apart first. So start doing that. It's a little time consuming because you got to kind of set this up with 2 different sockets and just press it out. It's easy, but it's just, you know, you got to set up each one. It takes a little bit of time, so not too big of a deal. And then this is all trash. This is like the world's smallest device, but it came with the shop. Guys, so it's like 10 o'clock at night right now, and I came into the shop to grab the camera, and I have to show you guys this because this is crazy. There is 3 spiders hanging down from the Mustang right now because it's up on the lift, and they are 3 black widows. No joke. One here. Look, let's see. Let's get real close to it. Let's extend the camera out. Can you guys see it? There's one. Here's the third one. Oh no, where's the third one? Oh, I see him. He just crawled back up into there. Oh my. Okay, well. Let's kill some spiders. Got the dogs out here with me for protection. It looks like I burned the shop down, basically, but it had to be done. There was 3 spiders. I killed 2 of them. The one in the front crawled back up into the frame, so I had to basically just let it eat with a little bit of brake fluid, a little bit of brake cleaner, and light it over here. I know it's not great to breathe in, but listen, I've done a lot worse. Yeah, so basically just doused all of this with some brake clean and just lit it on fire. Not much could survive that. And then I also kind of peppered the underneath of it a little bit. Kind of just let her eat a little bit. You got to do that sometimes with the brake clean, but nothing to be damaged. There's no fuel in the car, no fluids whatsoever in the car besides the rear diff fluid. So we're pretty safe, I would say. What do you think, Jess? Do you think we're safe? Tell me. You don't like spiders either. I've seen her try to eat one though. Very good doggo. Come on. You're only 1. You don't need to breathe in all this. Well guys, after that spider fiasco I just had, I realized that my wagon was out of gas. And it's been out of gas for a couple days, but I figured I would take it and go fill it up. It's like 11 o'clock right now on a Friday night. So I figured I would go down to the local gas station, get some gas in this thing, fill it up, you know, maybe grab myself a Yoo-hoo, I don't know, something like that. It's been a long time since I was out 11 o'clock on a Friday night in a streetcar, so I figured I would just go do a cruise, grab myself a Yoo-hoo, like the good old days. See what's out there on these here streets. Well, ain't that some caught in traffic? What are the odds? It is 11:06. I got caught in traffic. Talk about a big oof. Pretty bummed. The shelf that had the Yoo-hoo was all out, but it said 2 for $3. Super big bummer. So I got some of this guy. Dang it. Do kids not meet up in Best Buy parking lots on Friday nights anymore? I feel like I was very often in the Best Buy parking lot on a Friday night when I had the V1. When I was about 18, I guess I wasn't really a kid, but I was pretty frequently found on a Friday night in the Best Buy parking lot. Maybe I was just a loser. No, can't be. Me? Come on. Let's just roll down the windows and we can get a little bit of driving sound. That was half the reason I did this little cruise. I freaking love superchargers. They just sound so good. It's so hard to like not just love that sound. I'll tell you, there is nothing out on these streets that wants this smoke. There's a dang old DeLorean over here. What the heck? Just sitting in the parking lot. Holley stocks like a brand new tank, so I figured instead of just screwing around with reusing this one, because there's no need to, I don't want to weld on this one or anything like that because it's had fuel in it, a bunch of crud in it, all that. It could be cleaned up, but I'd rather just go for a brand new one from Holley. Figured I'd pull this one apart because we will be using the level switch, the float switch, to run to the stock gauges. I won't be reusing the fuel pump setup, but I will need it to seal the stock tank because I have to put it on top to seal. Well, I figured while I wait for everything, I might as well tear into this motor a little bit more. This front cover is pretty nasty, and since I am reusing it, I figured I would clean it up, paint it black, you know, make it somewhat presentable, get all this grossness off of it. So best bet to pull the cam out is to get some of the bolts that are used to hold like the water pump on. Thread those in, gives you an actual handle to grab, and then be very careful pulling it out because you don't want to damage your cam bearings. Oh, not what you like. Voila, and it's out. Okay, I'm gonna do something you shouldn't do. I'm gonna look at the cam bearings. Sure, there's gonna be some people, oh no, brake clean is so bad for bearings. Oh my gosh, you just ruined your motor. Throw it in the trash, bring it back to the junkyard, return it, exchange it, you ruined it. Next on my list of finding things to do to be productive, I have to tear down this rear end. Not a whole lot I have to do to it right now, but I want to pull the rear cover off. I want to pull these bushings out, a couple other things, clean it up, clean up right here where I'm going to weld it because you got to weld the axle tubes or else you'll twist them. So clean up those to weld it and pull off like some of this stuff that's not really needed, see what's inside, see what needs to come out because we're basically rebuilding most of this, and then there's going to be some supports put on it as well. So after pulling this open, I realized that it is a 373 gear, which is really good. This came out of a stick shift car, so makes sense. I'm kind of on the fence about what gear to run. 373 is a good option. 355 would be another good option. That's what I run in the Camaro. 373 is a really good option. It might give us a good, you know, good bit better 60 foot, but it won't cruise on the highway as well. So that's kind of the it's kind of the back and forth I deal with. So next on my list on this nice night, it's about 9 o'clock, and I figured I'd just start tinkering a little bit. So I got to do some stuff on this transmission here. So this kind of needs to be dressed, I want to call it. Yeah, you know, dress it up for, you know, battle. And this is the box that's gonna do it. So I got a yoke for the back so I can put it on and measure it and whatnot. I got a transmission catch can, so this goes on the front of the trans, or the back of the trans, and then the line goes into the overflow. So, you know, catch can kind of needed. I got a locking dipstick, the same exact one I run in the Camaro now. I mean, I learned my lesson. Now I got the same one for this. We got a transmission mount for the Powerglide, and then I got 2 new gaskets for it. So one backup just to have, and one to put on once I take this thing apart. Nice to have a backup around because both cars run a Powerglide. You never know when you're gonna need one, so just figured I'd buy 2, put one on the shelf. But time to get to work on this thing. This is a shoe mat for, like, you know, you put outside your house and you just put your shoes on it. I keep a couple of these around because it's really nice for, you know, doing stuff like this. Doesn't get all dirty, but I also want to rewire the trans brake on this because it's kind of a hokey looking piece. Yeah, I don't like it. I want to fix these wires a little bit. But time to put all this stuff on, because to put on the locking dipstick, you have to pull the trans pan and put it in and then screw it in from the bottom. Okay, so here is the Powerglide opened up. I don't know if you guys know anything about this. This was a cheap Powerglide that I got off Facebook Marketplace. I was told it had really good parts in it. It does have a few good parts in it, a few parts that Jason at ATF would probably not recommend after I learned more about Powerglides. You know, he doesn't like billet valve bodies, he likes OEM ones. A couple other things I'm sure he would do way differently, but I got this, put it in the Camaro, put the car on the ground, went to drive it to its first event, and it didn't move, didn't go into gear, nothing. That was a big bummer. That was kind of when my transmission escapades started way back in the day with the Camaro. So talked to James, we kind of figured out what was the problem. This was probably a year and a half ago at this point, and took it out, took it over to him, and him and his dad kind of went through it a little bit, put some fresh stuff in it, rebuilt it for me, and then here it is. It was working fine after that. The trans brake always didn't work that great. I don't know if that was a different issue, but the trans brake always kind of sucked. Maybe that was the billet valve body deal, but who knows. Trans brake was never that great. I'm gonna try some different things this time and figure out if that's, you know, figure out if we can fix that. It could have been a couple different things that I know now that I didn't know back then, but gonna try some different things. But yeah, I got this 1,100 bucks Facebook Marketplace. Had to go through it immediately. Learned my lesson there a little bit. Has some good parts, some parts that don't need to be on it, but all in all, it's a pretty decent trans. It's a stock case though, unfortunately, but it's got some good parts in it. One thing that's a little unnerving is I just opened up the pan and there's a good amount of debris, especially because this thing only had maybe 3 passes on it in my possession. But it did have some street driving, some other stupid stuff. I don't know what all that is. Maybe it's break-in. Could have been whatever assembly lube was used off the kick. But I'm gonna pull the filter off, see what the filter looks like, because it looks like there's some stuff on the other side of the filter that needs to be cleaned off. I'll tell you, I am definitely glad I'm doing all this stuff outside the car, because I just remembered that the breather on these is like this weird, I don't even know what kind of fitting this is, probably some stock GM one, and it's like a push-in. I just took out the 1/8 inch NPT tap and tapped into there, started it by hand, but unfortunately this one, it can't twist this thing, so I had to use the drill, but it made some nice threading in there, if you can see that, if it'll focus. I used a little bit of grease on the drill bit so that, or the tap bit, so that I didn't you know, lose all the shavings. A little bit of wheel bearing grease like this, you just dip it in there, nice and easy. And then I just need one little bit longer of a vacuum line to go to here, and then put this 90 degree off of there. That'll go into there, and we will be good to go. So kind of nice install. It's always nice to make things the correct way. I did this stuff when I really didn't know what I was doing. Now I only moderately know what I'm doing. Well, the transmission is ready to go in the car now. Just need to hook up the power and ground wires once the time comes, and everything else is good to go. Got the breather that goes to, there's a breather right here, drain here on it. This is just a placeholder for now so that I don't have to run the giant long tube, snake it into there. These placeholders are pretty nice. Everything else is good to go. I do hate running a stock case Glide, but you know, it's what I got right now, so it's what we're gonna run. I will be running an SFI flywheel, so there's some safety there. Until this car gets a 400, once I stop being so cheap, aka broke, I'll put a 400 in this thing, and then that nice, badass, fully built Glide will find its way over to Chip. I may pull it out for Rocky Mountain Race Week. Like if I do Rocky Mountain Race Week, I don't want to do it in this Glide, but this is a great trans to get the car on the road, you know, get us rolling, get us making passes, and then, you know, when the time comes for a big event like that where it needs to be super reliable and stuff, I'll just, you know, take the trans out and put it in there. You guys know me. I can have a trans out in like, I don't know, maybe on a lift, maybe 30 minutes. On the ground, 2 hours. But, so it wouldn't be that bad. I could just swap the Glides pretty easily. Everything else is the same on these. The way that I set them up is the same mounting and basically everything. So it would basically just be a different converter and that same Glide right over into there. So be a super easy deal. It's like even the same fittings and stuff. Yep, that's what I would do for a bigger event, but for, you know, getting it running, driving, built, you know, this Glide and that motor are gonna be what I use. But I'm rambling. I think that'll do it for this video, guys. There was a lot that we did. I got some work done finally on this thing, figured out exactly what I needed, got some parts ordered coming for it, all stuff that I gotta start getting to, but I got some time still. So that'll do it, guys. Thank you for watching. Keep it saucy. I'll see you next time.